Welcome, everyone. You are watching the Quentasia May 2024 online forum. I'm happy to announce today that with us from the Latino Filmmakers Network is Maylen Calienes, and from the Asian American Film Lab, we have Francis Chen and Georgie Bridges. We may have Ray a little later. I think we might be having some technical difficulties joining us. Thank you all for being here. And what I would like to do, Maylen, the ladies first, we'll start with you. Let me ask you a question. So why did you start the Latino Filmmakers Network?
I started Latino Filmmakers Network mostly because of my own personal journey uh, in the entertainment industry, being put in a box because I happen to be Latina and going through the journey myself and seeing the lack of representation and the misrepresentation of our very diverse Latino community. And so I went through the whole process, whether as an actor, as a filmmaker, writer, director, producer. So my journey was very much similar to the journey of many of my colleagues in the sense of what we were dealing with in the entertainment industry. And I started in this industry when diversity and inclusion wasn't even a word. Uh, so attending the Sundance Film Festival for so many years and also seeing the lack of representation of my community there, in 2015, I started Latino Filmmakers Network there at Sundance, and it kind of blew up and took and we took it from there. And this year we were back at Sundance celebrating our 10th year anniversary. Latino Filmmakers Network brings visibility, opportunity, proper representation to our very diverse Latina community and also underrepresented storytellers. And we've done a lot of great stuff throughout these years to bring that visibility, to give opportunities, and to have that proper representation.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. And, I think this will be a great discussion because we have another organization that I have the privilege of working with from time to time that I want to tell you about. Francis, let me start with you. So can you tell us a little bit about the Asian American Film Lab, and then tell us a little bit about the 72-hour shootout?
Sure. Thanks, Gregory, for having me on. The Asian American Film Lab was founded by a group of people involved in the arts that were just, wondering why, they put in their time, they put in the dues, and or they're getting or bit parts that are not representative of roles and roles that are deserving for Asian Pacific American actors and crew, and they thought, why can't we help ourselves? They want to like work on different projects. One of the first things they did was to have have stage readings of unpublished works, and so that they have the opportunity to workshop it themselves, and so that they can feed off of each other's feedback, and get the support that they weren't getting from the general population, environment that they had been working in. The 70-hour shootout was started 20 years ago in 2004 to provide an entryway for the next generations of Asian Pacific Americans to get involved into filmmaking. There's many hurdles to like getting a production off the ground. Something like this, where you make a 5-minute short in 72 hours, sort of has like a low commitment and a high amount of impact in terms of getting people together, getting people involved, and seeing if it is for them. And I think hopefully in the past 20 years, like we've provided an on-ramp for a lot of Asian Pacific Americans to become filmmakers.
Thank you for that. And Georgie's, so let me ask you, now the 72-hour shootout competition, which I have, you know, been there when the winners have, I was there last year when the winners were announced, and been attended a few launch parties in my day, and hopefully will attend the next one. One of the things that people might not think about in terms of, you know, what is possible in a competition like this is that how it builds cross-racial coalitions, and you know that truly empowers all. Could you talk a little bit about that and how that works, and your role in the 72-hour shootout and at the Asian American Film Lab?
Well, thank you, Gregory. I've been with the Asian American Film Lab probably for like around 5 or 6 years now. And when I initially came to Asian American Film Lab, it turned out to be so much more than I had anticipated. I thought it was just basically just about films and basically film production, but it's so much more. It's about people. It's about identity. It's about diversity. And one of the main themes that Jennifer Betten-Yen, our president, instills in us is that you're not just one thing, you're many things. And I think that's where the 72-hour shootout comes in, because it motivates people to, you could be behind the camera, or you could in front of the camera, or you could do writing, or you could do so many things because of the fact that you're not just one thing, you're many things. And it helps to get people together who have different ideas, combining themselves into one process to create a beautiful work that transfers a type of message, identity, as I mentioned, non-discrimination, all different kinds of areas. But as I mentioned, the 72-hour shootout is a wonderful event. That, along with some of our other programs, which are unfinished works, I think that's why people are drawn to the Asian American Film Lab, because it's just so many things. And as the community outreach liaison, I've gotten to meet so many wonderful people. I've gotten to go to the mayor's office. I got to go to participate with CAPA. I've gotten to participate with partnerships that deal with children and disadvantaged youth. So it's a great organization, and the Film Lab is just it's a great part of it. But right now we're doing the 72-hour shootout, and I'm sure it'll be a great year.
I'm sure as well. It's always amazing to see the ideas that we have. Maylen, I'm going to come to you in a second, but before I do, I wanted to just give a quick shout out to my co-host, Miss Jennifer Trujillo, who is the Senior Managing Director of the Gilbert Baker Film Festival. So thank you, Jen, for being here as always and helping us, you know, run things here and run them smoothly. So Maylen, let me ask you, in terms of, so I'm a young filmmaker and, you know, I'm looking to, you know, particularly, you know, I'm a young Latino filmmaker and I want to find my way into this industry. I don't know anybody in this industry. How does your organization help a person like that find their way, if you will?
I feel like when anybody comes into this industry, nobody exactly knows what you have to do to get into the industry. I myself had to figure it out on my own, right? There's like no rules or anything like that. You could be a filmmaker that goes to film school, and I faced this in a on a daily that, filmmakers that go to film school, you go to film school, you learn film at film school, but you don't learn anything about the industry. They don't tell you how this industry works. The important thing to have, this is why these organizations, whether it's Latino Filmmakers Network, Asian American Film Lab, right? They're so important to have because they're places where people could gather, they're places where people could connect, they're places where people could get educated, not just about the field, but about the industry, right? And kind of like start creating from there, right? Coming to any of our events or we're organizations like ours provide resources to people that are coming into this industry to understand where to even start, to give them a platform to express their voice, especially that underrepresented voice, that is not even well described or well understood in the entertainment industry, right? So this is why you need these platforms, these nonprofits. I also tell filmmakers to attend film festivals, because at film festivals, you're able to connect with other people. You're able to see the projects that are out there. You're able to find friends there and hopefully future collaborators, and that's very important. I feel like community is very important, not only to understand the entertainment industry, but also to connect with your own community, because in the end, we all have special voices, right, that are not going to be understood by the studio system, that we kind of have to start doing ourselves to get in there and get it and educate the studio system with that, but also get into the world, right? So we could have a voice in the States, and so we could have that proper representation. So that's what I feel is the right thing to do, to be part of my organization or any of these organizations, that help you kind of get your foot in, just by helping you navigate by being involved and educated and stuff like that. So
all right, Jen, I'm gonna throw you a curveball here. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of and how you try to foster community at the Gilbert Baker Film Festival, and how has it impacted filmmakers? Like what impact did it have on their career, on their mindset, on helping them figure out all right, here's the direction that I want to go? If you could talk a little bit about that.
It's a great question. And I think Maylen touched on it, finding community and finding co-collaborators. So our film festival, at least in the time that I have been directing it, has been virtual and global online, but we work really, really hard to have an interactive global community by hosting interactive social events that are watch parties, discussion groups, just straight up social events, and then also filmmakers networking events. And for the filmmakers, it's really important to me to try to talk to each of them, read what they say, and try to find times that I can bring them together in a watch party or at one of the events so that they can connect. I think a good example of that is it's a brand new filmmaker graduating from school, had an incredible animation piece, and I was able to connect her with two other very senior filmmakers that have been doing animation in this space. And they came together. We watched everybody's pieces, even some from former film festivals, together, and talked about it. And they, connected with each other and talked about processes and planned other future meetings. One of those filmmakers works in a very collaborative way, in a really unique way, that they have literally made films that are group made. So they take the animation from a handful of animators from around the world and edit them together in a themed animation piece, which is pretty cool. So I try to do a lot of that by pulling them into spaces or setting up, in the time that I have on Zoom, connecting them, connecting like-minded interests. I'm really excited for this year because I have yet another filmmaker from the Caribbean that I met, and that's a whole nother space. And so I've already met people in that space. I'm trying to bring people together there to have themselves be seen on film. Yeah, I think that's what I try to do the most. And the watch parties I try to do are very long periods and in times that work for a global community. So I'm on there for many hours, as you know, Gregory, but it's a minimum of 10 hours, and often I'm on for 20 hours straight in a space online trying to connect people together. Does that answer the question? I hope.
Yeah, no,
Great.
that does. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I'd like to do now is for those of you that know me, one of the driving forces for me is why this matters, and that representation, I'll get my mouth straight, representation matters. So I'd kind of like to just talk with each of you and just ask basically two questions. One, when we say representation, what does that mean to you? And why does it matter? Francis, you want to start us off on that?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. I think representation is just a big word for being. It's like, being with dignity. It's like that we can be who we truly are, and that we and that we have something to contribute, that we can make things better for other people based on who we are and what we can bring to the table. It's like, I'm ethnically Chinese, but my family's actually from the Caribbean. My dad was born in Jamaica and my mother's from Trinidad. So very, and so we have relatives all over the place, very far flung, and like, and a very, diverse family. And so, it's important to me that we are exposed to all those things, and we can honor those things that are valuable and worthy, and that's who we are, and we are that we are able to coexist together, and these and things like filmmaking or one of the things where you can preserve, it's a snapshot of that life, and you can explore and understand different viewpoints of life and appreciate it. And I think that's the most important thing for me about representing.
Maylen.
Representation to me also means inclusivity. When it comes specifically to the Latino community, we're a very diverse community. We go from white to brown to black. We have Asian, we have everything within our Latino community. It's a very diverse community. We also have different languages, we have Spanish, English, Portuguese, so we're a very diverse community. And it almost always seems like, of course, I happen to be Latina, so naturally I know about my community, I know how underrepresented it is, and this is a space to bring community together and to elevate our voices, right? But in the end, what really matters is inclusivity of all of our communities coming together, because that's what the world looks like. And that's specifically what the United States of America looks like. This is a country that's a melting pot with so many different people from all over the world, a country that's made by immigrants, from all over, and different types of colors, different types of races and cultures and stuff like that. So in the end, it's like really projecting onto a screen what not only this country, but the world looks like, and being authentic about it, and having these voices behind the scenes as writers, as executives, as producers, bringing that authenticity, to film, to TV, to news, to media, because people may not travel, people may not meet other people, read, be educated in certain ways about different communities. But people do watch TV, people do watch film, people do listen to movies. And if you see communities being stereotyped in certain ways and being put in a box, that is what people believe. There's a lot of ignorance, right? So that's what people will believe. So we have to have that proper representation, which is very important. And and see all these different communities represented, not just as stereotypes, but also in a very positive light. The entertainment industry has such a big, you know uh they don't know what they carry in their shoulders and what they're able to do with representation, and the positivity that they could do with bringing communities together, and shining a positive light on communities instead of keeping them in a box or keeping them stereotyped.
Yes, very, very well said. Georgie, how about you?
Yes, I agree with what everyone else is saying. For me, it means coming together. Representation means coming together, being stronger, being seen. For instance, like a child may not see people on TV that look like them. And so we need to have more representation, a wider range of colors and nationalities on TV, in the media, where you can see people that look like yourself. I think that it's changed somewhat, but we still have so much far to go where there's more representation of people that look like us on TV and in the media, and more mainstream than previously. I've heard my family talk about sitting in front of the TV and being so excited about seeing like some other person of color on TV, and seems like a wonderful feeling, and we need more of that. We need to see more of us everywhere, and I think that's what representation is. And I think that the way to achieve that is together we're stronger, and if we're united together, we can create these projects that that will represent us.
Very well said. Yes.
I just want to say something. I love how you said that, because that together we're stronger. In fact, this year our hashtag is together we win, for Latino Filmmakers Network, because it is very important to come together as not just the community, as communities, right? Because we do win together.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm all about. I'm gonna hold fire here. Jen, I'm gonna allow you to you wanna give
You
your
can go first if you want.
no, I'm gonna
Your
I'm
move.
gonna
I
round up.
I echo what everyone else said. I constantly say we are stronger together. An abundance mindset is how we're going to move forward. There's enough for all of us. And representation is literally life-saving and world-changing. It just is. It can impact young children, old, anyone at any age, to be seen, heard, valued, loved, respected, to be reflected in a story on screen or through the creators and the filmmakers that are putting those stories on screen will change the world and will save lives beyond belief. And it's diversity in everything, abilities, so disabilities, abilities, ageism, body positivity, racial, ethnic diversity, all of that. I mean, Gregory, and you and I talk about this all the time. It is so important. And there is a shift in paradigm. It's happening. But I think the more we all work together, we will be stronger and we will be able to make a change. And we can do it. We just have to believe in it and keep helping each other. And that's part of what the networking and all these things are and what all these organizations here reflect. And I do believe in us. We have to help each other also and keep motivating each other and supporting each other as we can. And asking people, we have to be the voices that tell people they have to support with their voices or their money or their actions, this change, this paradigm shift that we're working towards. And then, that will help us. All right,
Uh,
Gregor, go.
No, I was waiting, you said a lot of the things, you touched on a lot of the points that I wanted to make. And not to take this in a dire direction, but first I'll start by saying that for me, why this all matters, and I think probably we have all seen it. When someone who has previously felt unseen is staring up at a movie screen and suddenly feels seen, and you see the look on their face because they feel seen, there's no amount of money that can, that is truly precious. And that is a gift worth fighting for. My thing, I do not have confidence that Hollywood will reform on itself. I will reform by itself, I should say. I do have confidence that they will reform, but as we like to say in this industry, it's show, not tell. We have to show them that it is profitable to have more diverse films. And this is the way it's worked both in film and television, same in the music industry. You get a bunch of mavericks that come up that say, why are we still doing it this way? Let's do it that way. They make a ton of money, then the entire industry says, okay, we're with them. That's the way I believe that this will happen. We have to we have to put in our mindset, we are the creators. We're not waiting for permission to do anything. It's within our power. Now, I think Georgie's and Francis, you probably haven't heard me preach this, but Maylen and Jen, you're probably sick of it. Sorry, you're gonna be sick of it some more. What I call the doctrine of 4 trillion. 4 trillion is the annual economic spending power of Asian Americans, African Americans, and Latinos in the US alone. We're not even talking about the global diaspora. We're just talking US. 4 trillion, not million, not billion, trillion. Our communities together. And that doesn't, and if I broaden that out to take in the disability community, neurodiverse, you're hitting broad segments of the population. What we have to do is, in my view, is to get people out of the mindset of waiting for something to happen. We have the power within our communities to make change. Individually, we can't do it. Individually, and if you are wealthy enough to write a check to fund a movie, then I definitely want to talk to you after this is over. But most of us, we don't have that kind of power. But together, we do have that kind of power to fund our projects. To say to theater owners, listen, we have an Asian American and a Latina who are starring in this film, and you are going to put this film in your theaters because we are the people who are showing up in your theaters. And if you don't, we will stop showing up. And I'm telling you, that will work, and that's the kind of muscle that we need to start employing. But not, if we show up individually, of course, we'll be laughed at. But organizationally, if we start pressing the issue and saying to theater owners, look, you're going to die unless you can give us a reason to want to come out to your theaters. And if we don't see us on the screen, we are not going to be excited. We have got to start pressing the issue, and that's what I'm all about. And regardless of, now I don't know what's going to happen with my company, but I hope that more and more people see that, this is something that we have to work towards. Not, hope is not a strategy. We cannot hope Hollywood will change. Spoiler alert, they're not going to change until someone comes along and makes more money than them. Then they'll start, oh, wait a minute, this works. And then you will see the rush for the change. Guaranteed. That's my thoughts. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I constantly preach that, and I hope one of my goals for doing an event like these and having organizations as we too is hopefully we do more of these, and eventually we get to a common purpose and a common goal, and we start working together on trying to move projects forward. I know that we all can think of example of super talented filmmakers that just need a way to break through and be seen, but they're having that difficulty because when I learned how films and television are financed, it is very clear and evident how people of color get screwed from the very beginning. Because from the very first decision that starts to be made about money, I mean, no one sits down and say, well, we can't put any Black people in here. But implicitly, if I say this is a $40 million film, all of a sudden I'm not looking for a Black actor or a Latino or an Asian actor to be the lead in that film, because I don't believe that those kind of actors can carry a film of that budget. That's what we're up against, is that people, the moment the budgets get higher, people say, it can't just, we've all seen that happen. The only way that we break that myth is that we have to become the producers of these things somehow. And the money is out there. We just have to become skilled at raising that money. But anyway, I won't go off on, my bent on, I absolutely believe that it's imperative, because if you look at the headwinds that are facing entertainment, I've been talking about Paramount. If you haven't been paying attention to what's happening with Paramount, we should be concerned, because Paramount is going to be sold. It's just a question of who it's going to be sold to. And private equity has been very active in our industry. And I'm, with maybe the possible exception of Hello Sunshine, which is Reese Witherspoon's company. But I'm going to hold judgment on that. That one, I still would have liked Reese Witherspoon to be in charge of that company. But that one seems to, I don't think that is as terrible as some of the other examples of private equity takeovers that I've seen in a while. But what could happen to Paramount will be bad, and that will reverberate throughout the industry. It's already tough for us to get roles. If that goes through, oh my God. That's why we need to be prepared to do our own stuff. I strongly believe that. Anybody want to add to that? Any comments?
I mean, this is why I'm always like, an independent film is like my world. And I think that independently, it's so important for us to tell our own stories, because creatively we could do what we want in telling our stories. We don't have a studio or networks telling us what to do. We could do it authentically, right? And then we need the studios to help by distributing our films, or these platforms, by distributing our films. That's very important. And yeah, right now the industry is going through something. But I feel like ever since I've been in this industry, it's an ever evolving industry and it's always going through something. Now it's just going into another phase. And it's again, like, we'll see what happens, and you always have to kind of like catch up with that ever evolving phase. So we'll see what happens.
Right, good point. Anybody, Francis, final
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, in addition to the production side, also I think we have to think about the the distribution and and the viewers. I think in the Asian American world, there's a number of groups called like Gold House, and so I have some friends who actually do theater buyouts. They're organized to buy out a theater, and during the opening week, so that that the numbers get in there, and then hopefully get some momentum to get everybody else on board. We wouldn't have gotten involved in gone to see those movies, or gotten the attention to see those movies, and also the companies need to see the numbers, like you said, and so having this having these organized buyouts helps to get those numbers in early, so that they make the decision to either go for a wider distribution, or keep it in theaters longer, or or increase their marketing. So those things are on the inside are just as important as on the production side.
100% agree. And the first 2 weeks for most films are the most important, because the distributor earns the most money in the first 2 weeks. It's a sliding scale as time goes on. The theater and the producer, if there's anything left, they start to earn more money over time. But so that first 2 weeks is usually where the distributor makes the most money. So that's for, if we want, I love the concept of buyouts. I believe, Maylen, you guys do the same thing. You've done that. That's the kind of stuff I think we need to do, because that shows tangible economic strength. You can say, look, if you put this film in your theater, we can guarantee you X amount of ticket sales, because we've got people who want to see this thing. That's powerful. That's the way we go about convincing distributors and theaters to carry films, with people of color, either at the helm or in the film, or preferably both.
But I feel like a lot of it is also marketing, and even with like when the studios like green light the few projects that they green light from all of our communities, they always end up green lighting the same types of stories coming out of our communities that are always the stereotype, of course, that usually our communities are not going to go see. Right? And the marketing is not, they don't put a lot of money behind the marketing, to market movies with either lead characters from our communities or stories that are coming out. And that really doesn't help, the cause. So even independently, it's like finding ways of allowing our communities to be properly marketed, so it could reach out that large audience that is out there for us but don't even know about our projects.
I definitely agree. And Georges, let me get your final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm new to all of this in terms of the behind the scenes, knowing about all the behind the scenes stuff. But I think this is a great time, which is like I guess like a backup plan for all of us, where we can. This is a wonderful time for us creating our own projects and things like that. And yeah, so I just think that it's a really good time for us, because never has there been a time where you could create your own projects on little or no budget at all. But I'm still learning about the distribution and all of the other stuff.
There's so many opportunities not only to create your own projects, but I love the work that it'll be interesting to see what Eva Longoria is going to do now that she's got that $50 million to do stuff with. So it'll be interesting to see what she's going to do with that. And I found out something, one of the people that I know who met met him, John Leguizamo has his own channel. He has a fast channel now. So there's lots of lots of people are out there taking steps to make sure that our stories can get out there and find an audience. So, Jen, you want to give us your final thoughts?
I'm going to segue off what you said in that, I will literally put it out there. I mean, me as a human, as a Latina and just a human and a film lover and caring about diversity, I will happily do what I can. I bore people on all my social media and everyone I talk to all the time, but I will do what I can to help amplify and celebrate these stories from my own personal perspective and the film festival that I represent. We care very much about the 2S LGBTQIA+, but I will celebrate and help other stories that are human stories in this diversity world. And so I can pledge that I'll do my part and I will do what I can to empower other people to do their part. And so anyone that hears this or see this that's here, if you want to tag me or push to me as I can, I will cross promote. I will talk about it. I am not shy about talking and connecting with people. And I think I'm imploring and pledging anyone that hears this to do the same. You can make a difference. It's that whole adage. If you tell 2 friends or you tell 10 friends and they tell 10 friends, we can have an impact. And even if you don't have financial money to put behind, you do have a voice. You have a voice in your community, in your family, on social media, through your administration, through other things. To have a voice, use your voice, vote and speak and comment and share. And I will do my part, and I'm imploring everybody else to do theirs. And I thank everyone here for their hard work and dedication in those spaces. And I'm grateful to have met you and connected, and we're going to be stronger together. We got this.
One of the things that we can do, we can all, when there's a project that we want to get behind and support and help it get distribution, go to your local theater and ask for that project. And when they say, we have no idea what you're talking about, you'll look at them like you're crazy. Like, what? You don't have this? What kind of movie, what kind of business are you running here? Why don't you have this? I'm telling you, you know this business. It's about presentation. It's about setting that image, setting that fear of missing out is a big motivator. And one last thing I'll leave with you, there's a misperception about who will watch this. I have heard from producers who brought over soap operas from South Korea, novellas from Mexico, you name it, all kinds of, and they put it out there and everybody was surprised. My little web series, The Null Hypothesis, back when I could get data about racial makeup of who was watching it, you know who was the largest part of my audience? White people. There's this myth that, oh, well, if there's people of color, they won't watch. Baloney. If it's a good story, we watch when there's white people in it. Why wouldn't, that's because, again, it's about being truly diverse. So, and white is a color in the rainbow. So we're not excluding anybody. And I believe if you put on interesting human beings will want to watch it. And I think that's a good note to end on. I want to thank my guests, Maylen Calienes, Georges Bridges, Francis Chen, and of course my co-host, Jen Trujillo. Thank you so much for showing up, for dealing with our little technical delays, but we at least have gotten this recording out, and I'll try to make it up to our audience who was dying to be here, and I'm sure they wanted to ask some great questions. But thank you all, and let's stay in touch. Let's try to keep moving the ball forward. All right. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you later.